Kanye though. Like that is kind of your vibe.
You know, tell me why you think that.
I mean your punchline is better.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
He's terrible at rapping, in my opinion.
He's not terrible.
And I'd say I'm great at rapping in comparison to Kanye. So this is entirely offensive to me. I would say more the fashion mogul and like businessman. That's probably more where he and I
shine.
Yeah.
Shine together.
Right.
Yeah, I think that he is kind of simultaneously like underrated and overrated as a rapper.
Yeah.
In the sense that like people are like, oh, Kanye's like one of the best rappers. Like, you know, just like people say that because they like his music, right? When if we're talking about like raw rap skill, it's like largely not there.
When do you think Kanye
was best at rapping?
When do you think Kanye went downhill?
Okay, well, I mean, frankly, after College Dropout,
yeah.
Late Registration was kind of garbage. But I think we had 2 solid upticks after that. I think his second and third albums are his, in no particular order, I don't think you can argue that his first, third, and fourth albums are his best albums.
So you're a Kanye stan?
No. I'm ranking a system of things. I'm not telling you that, like, Glory is my fucking favorite song.
Right.
It's your favorite song.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
So how many NBA players has the Kardashian family ran through?
NBA, okay, we have Chris Humphries, we have Lamar Odom.
Yep. Didn't Harden?
Harden was up in that.
Right.
Chloe, right?
Harden was with Chloe.
Yeah. I think that's it as far as NBA, right?
It's a much longer list.
Now, if we're just talking about athletes,
yeah,
it's different.
Right.
Was there an A-Rod thing for a minute, or am I making that
I think
up?
there was an A-Rod or a baseball, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. And then he ended up, funny story actually, he ended up with Jennifer Lopez, obviously.
Made in Manhattan. Gigli.
She's made actually like a couple pretty good movies and mostly terrible movies.
She was in the Super Bowl last year.
Okay, a lot of people were in the Super Bowl last year. Do you aspire to perform at the Super Bowl? Is that
if I perform at the Super Bowl, I can retire. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually so ready to sell out.
Is that purely based on what you think the financial metrics would be? Or
Totally.
just like, okay, bucket list, I'm fucking done?
No.
Like mic drop.
I have no interest in the glamour of performing at the Super Bowl, nor the political affiliation of performing at the Super Bowl.
Sure. You do love lip syncing, though.
I love lip syncing. No, here's the situation.
Which I'm not sure if people know that.
People don't know.
That the Super Bowl performance is completely canned.
100% canned.
Yeah. It's a studio audience.
How do you think that all these people are doing cartwheels and backflips while singing, what did Jennifer Lopez sing? Jenny from the Block. How do you think she...
Is that actually what she's saying? I don't fucking remember. Is that...
It's a song of hers, I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the issue for me with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I have very strong conviction about selling out. And
you're pro.
My girlfriend, I'm very pro. So after years of anguish in the music industry, I've learned that any opportunity to sell out, take it.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend, actually my family and I had a pretty hot debate over Christmas about if I would perform at the Trump inauguration.
Oh shit, I love this.
And what would my number be?
Well, first of all, I know it's a yes, and it's less than $1 million.
It's less than $1 million.
Yeah.
10,000. No, I'm just kidding.
11,000.
So my girlfriend is an artist as well.
Yeah.
Her answer was absolutely not. No number.
No number.
No number would do it, and so I keep raising the number, and she keeps saying no. My parents are just appalled at the whole thing.
Yeah.
In general.
Appalled. I didn't know your parents were named Paul.
Paul and Paul.
It's like a birdcage situation.
It's a fluid situation.
How's their pool boy game? Pretty strong?
I don't think they have a pool game.
Not a lot of pools in New Mexico.
They have a stoner older guy.
Yeah.
Maybe stoner mixed with like too much chlorine. So he's like not all there, but his discounts are just through the roof. So, you know what I mean? So
fire.
So basically, we established that my number for selling out would be very low.
Yeah.
And hers.
Having known you for 20 years, I could have said that.
Well, So I just want to get that out there.
But like, I want to understand very low.
Okay, I would probably do it.
50?
No, I probably need a cool 200.
Okay.
I'll take a cool 200 and immunity, because so there is a story about a black R&B artist who performed, and she did the thing and she got 86 from everything.
Wait.
I forget her name. She's on the come up, but she got 86 from the entire industry. Nobody supports her, and she had a good name.
Who was this?
I'm trying to remember who it is. It's on Complex. Complex covered it.
I will fuck with it.
And she took like, $200,000, $300,000.
Yeah.
Which that could make somebody's life.
Yeah.
It's a hard decision.
Good couple years at least.
Good couple years, or at least reinvest it and do something special. You know?
Totally.
So on that side, I don't think it's about me being a sellout. I think that like I've just learned you got to sort of mix it up a little bit.
If there's a check,
so they can reinvest. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So
is that why you got into real estate?
So well, that's why I came on this podcast, because I'm looking for opportunities from anybody who's watching this. I feel as though I've brought the integrity of your podcast down several notches by being on it.
I don't think that we've established that there is any existing integrity on this podcast to begin with.
We're at the base level.
So just based on the fact that 75% of this podcast so far is you and me.
Right.
Low ceiling.
Low ceiling. Yeah. Shatter the roof.
Yeah.
Shatter the roof.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's great to see you here.
Great to be here.
In this beautiful kitchen.
Yeah.
It's a bitchin' kitchen.
It's a bitch. You know what's funny is that in the past week I've cooked more in here than I have in 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You don't really get down in here.
No, I do. I just meal prep.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so efficient at that I can cook a week's worth of food in an hour.
That's insane. How do I do that?
Lentils, rice, beans, chicken, sausage, and just like a fridge full of sauces and seasonings that can just go in a lot of different directions.
And you just keep everything in Tupperware.
I'm just like, cool. Okay, I got beans and rice. Do I want those to be Cajun today? Do I want them to be Mexican today?
Do
I want them to be Asian today?
Yeah.
Cool, great. Like what kind of Asian?
Beans and rice can become anything.
Facts.
That's insane.
Generally only it's going to go Chinese, just FYI.
I'm so bad at that. It's laborious for me to cook. I love it.
Well, I mean, it is laborious because you don't have that basic skill set of like, okay, these relatively simple things I can do quickly. So if you're chopping an onion or chopping garlic, you probably have a dull knife. You probably have a small cutting board.
Oh, come on, hold on. I got a sharpener from my dad.
What does it look like? Because people say sharpener, and that the gamut of bullshit things that could be.
Yeah.
Is it a thing that has two little things that you run it in between?
That's the one I got.
That shit's fucking hot garbage.
Yo, do you think that I could find the right one at Williams-Sonoma?
You can find the right anything at Williams-Sonoma. You could find the right knife sharpener. You can find your future wife.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Isn't that where you and Yadira met?
We met on Williams-Sonoma dating.com. Williams-Sonoma is so they kind of outfit everything, right?
They're, I think, a really great example of being a worldwide brand that is really useful to insiders in the industry and just novices. You know, now they are generally speaking a luxury product, so there's a certain price point there, but. I mean, as with doing anything, invest in good things.
Know
you
your
get better
worth.
Results.
Yeah, totally. Get what you pay for.
No doubt. All right, so I want to just cover a couple things. How we met.
Yeah.
Which has been, as I was in the restroom earlier.
Yeah.
I realized I was like, oh, it's been 19 years.
It's been a long time.
It's been 19 years.
Yeah.
And we pretty much look the same.
Oh, absolutely. I've aged like a buttercup.
I've aged in dog years.
Yeah, totally. Okay, keep on.
And we've seen each other around the country a few times in a lot of different phases of life.
That's very true.
And I want people to know how it started.
Yeah.
So we're both from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
That's right.
Well, not from. We're actually neither of us are from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Grew up mostly in Santa Fe, between Santa Fe and a couple short stints in Manhattan.
Other southern roots.
Well, my family from the Carolinas, so my dad's family is from South Carolina.
That's right.
Mom's family is North Carolina, Virginia.
Yeah.
So really all Southern.
Right.
With that being said, we moved out west, and my mom grew up in El Paso, Texas.
Right.
And so, there was that influence, and certainly going back to visit my dad's parents, there was a strong Southern influence there. We'd go to like Myrtle Beach and Charleston and those places and all that stuff. Which I think I've always kind of had a mixed relationship with like Southern roots, because I think as someone who has, been brought up in a way to, not discriminate and embrace all people, to then have a certain part of your family not be as open-minded at those concepts, and obviously you and I, just growing up with basketball, and then like having a huge attachment to rap and hip hop because of that,
goes hand in hand,
and by extension, like just two white guys that were pretty immersed in black culture, in different ways, was I think an interesting pill for my grandparents to swallow. Did you ever experience that?
Oh my God!
Because your pops is from Texas.
Yep.
Your mom's Venezuelan.
That's right.
What was that like on both sides?
There's an interesting. So okay. Racism is a strong term. It's a strong idea.
Yeah.
So
closed-mindedness better?
Closed-mindedness is probably the better word. So Latinos have an interesting way of familiarizing based on race. Okay. So we're just going to open it up, because a lot of people will take this incorrectly, because we're in 2020 and it's very PC.
No doubt.
And everybody's sensitive, and I respect that. But in growing up in...
I don't respect
growing up in...
Sure. Let's not be racist, because that fucking sucks. Yeah. And let's just be honest.
Let's allow each other to...
Let's laugh at each other.
Totally.
You know what? I'm really stereotypically white in a lot of ways. Literally look at what I'm wearing right now.
You look like Woody Harrelson in White Men Ketchup.
Goals, though.
That's what are those? Show those for the camera.
These are the Easter Bunny Jordan 5s.
Wow.
Fire. Let me see. What you got rocking that?
Oh, I got some dirty old Jordan 1s.
Some 1s?
The black and yellow, the Wu-Tangs.
Maybe the cleanest sneaker design of all time.
The most iconic for sure.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting we both came to this podcast with such iconic Jordans on.
Yeah.
I feel like...
Pause. I want to get back.
Okay, no.
Yeah. I want to get back to your parents and your grandparents and your extended family. And,
this is interesting.
And how they reacted to your kind of love for, all things basketball and hip-hop.
100%.
And the culture, right?
This is interesting. So Latinos address each other in such a familial way, and then like say you go to the corner store, again, not trying to be racist, and there's an Asian person working, they'll say, "Mira, chinito, dame whatever." So
they just refer to a person by their race.
Yes. They'll say it as simple as that, and it's totally accepted. That's still the way it was. So growing up in Venezuela, Miami, and Panama, it was pretty much that way across the board with no preconceived...
Quick pause. I didn't know you grew up in Panama.
A little bit, because my family had business there.
Sure. Like on and off?
On and off.
Okay.
On and off.
Close enough to Miami that you would just kind of go back and forth?
Well, I would leave school for half a year. Because my folks were starting a shrimp company. And so they're shrimp farmers. And
there was actually a movie made about
that. Don't even start. Don't start. So my folks were shrimp farmers, and we would go for 6 months at a time.
Sure.
And they were starting the business up. And so, I was happy to do it. It was great.
Yeah.
I played in a men's basketball league in Panama when I was like 11 years old.
But from what I've heard, Panama actually has low-key some good basketball.
They got some low-key good basketball players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't name them because I start to mix up all the...
That's fine.
I can only think of Joe Arroyo right now. Yeah. Is that his name? Or Joe...
I think it's Joey, technically.
Whatever.
But yeah.
Either way. Joe Calderon. So I played in this basketball league.
Want some more water?
I played in this basketball league in Panama. And one thing that they would do when I would sit on the sidelines is they would press into my skin, again, the other side of it.
Sure.
And I would get an immediate red mark, right?
Yeah.
From how fair I was.
Yeah.
So my mom is light-skinned Latina.
Yeah.
And my dad is freckly white redhead.
Yeah. I mean, your dad's a Texas boy, right?
He's a Texas boy through and through. And so they would press into my skin, it would turn red, and they would all freak out and crowd around during the timeouts. And so they would start to write their names in my skin with their nail, because they were just like, look at how fair he is. Like, it was just the most ridiculous and out there thing, but like it was totally normalized.
Yeah.
You know, we would laugh about it.
Yeah.
On the other side,
Yeah, it sounds pretty unfair though.
oh yeah, the white man. Let's take the power back. We're really breaking barriers down on your second episode. Okay, and then on the other side, I can very clearly remember a Thanksgiving where I put on James Brown.
Yeah.
And
hardest working man in show business.
And
yeah.
Both of them, as I found out the other day.
Yeah, in the grain business too.
And I put on James Brown, and there was a relative who responded so negatively because he was aware of the song. Because James Brown was the hardest working man in funk and soul.
Totally.
And so every generation knew that
James Brown.
In the early 90s.
Sure.
And I remember he said, turn off this black man's music.
Interesting. I had a very similar experience watching TV with my grandparents when I was probably 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
And Jesse Jackson came on the TV back when Jesse Jackson was, on the news every day or at least every week, and some really ugly language was used, and I that was the first time where I was like, that was the first time I experienced racism from someone else. I actually experienced it pretty early on towards me because I was in a predominantly Latino just elementary school, and it was just I was a minority, and it just
in Atlanta.
No, in Santa Fe.
Oh, in Santa Fe, right.
Laragoite?
Say it again?
Laragoite?
Not with that pronunciation, I don't know.
Laragoite? Jesus,
oh,
why do I
right,
have a better Spanish accent than that Venezuelan guy?
I'm just kidding.
On Agua Fria.
Agua Fria.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and, they just, it's just one of those things where it's just, tough couple years. Was what it was, right?
Right.
It also didn't make me think anything else other than there were just dickheads. You know what I mean? Like I don't think you can take a person's poor behavior to speak for a group of people.
There was no race attached to it.
No.
Yeah.
It was just kids being assholes because they saw someone that looked different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's what kids do.
Yeah.
Totally. That's what shitty kids do. That's what kids that have shitty parents.
Were you a bully at that age?
I was never a bully.
Oh, good man.
No, I was never a bully. It was not my vibe.
Did you ever do anything spiteful to another kid?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kids, right?
Right.
I did have this weird thing, I think it was in 4th or 5th grade, where me and my best friend, we decided to start rival gangs.
Wow.
But I'm talking Bloods and Crips.
Advanced.
And so because we're just obsessed with these gang documentaries that we would watch at his house.
What?
So we talked all these kids into joining, I was the Bloods and he was the Crips, and we literally just had a gang fight.
No.
Swear to God. Yeah. That's where my powers of leadership started.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, band everyone together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're against those guys.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I did not know that about you.
No.
You started a...
I don't know if I've told that story in 15 years.
You started a prepubescent...
blood gang. LA/Santa Fe based blood gang, which I was supremely underqualified to run.
Totally. Imagine...
My life experience did not speak to it authentically.
That interview...
I'd go back to my house and be like, oh man, my basketball court at my house
tough day.
Isn't big enough. It's only a half court.
Imagine the interview for that job. What are your credentials to run a blood gang?
On the most basic level, I should have been a Crip. I look terrible in red.
Right. It's not...
It washes me out. It's not my color.
Yeah.
I'm a blue guy.
You're a blue guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although that navy blue, also not for me.
Not for you?
I'm a pastels guy.
You're a UNC blue.
Yeah.
Too light.
Carolina blue is Carolina blue, and it's such an iconic color that I just feel like it should just be for that and literally nothing else.
Right.
But that's probably
it's a basketball fan's perspective.
Yeah, some conditioning there for sure.
Totally.
For sure.
A little bit.
Yeah, being no, this is only for Tar Heels.
We would do...
It's a weird mascot.
At that age...
We're a goat that has dirty feet. Fuck?
At that age, we would get together... I don't think you knew this group of guys. You know Dakota. And Dakota was friends with Con Stapleton. Hopefully I don't get anybody in trouble for this. Con Stapleton, Winston Riley.
I know these names.
Myself and Dakota would do these overnights, spend the night at one of the homies' houses.
Yeah.
And we would get... they had night vision goggles. And, and so we would borrow...
legit night
vision goggles. And so we would borrow one, like maybe the dad's night vision. Maybe he hunted. I don't know why he had them, or even whose family it was. Maybe Winston's. And
Quick side note, hunting's a character flaw. Keep going.
Yeah, but also like, hunt and kill.
It's a skill.
For your own...
Totally a skill.
But also a character flaw. In 2020, yes.
It's like, I appreciate someone who's like, okay, cool, I'm going to hunt and I'm going to go eat an animal, right? Like that, I totally get.
That's infrequently what's happening.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because I think that's one of the very few perspectives of taking something that's naturally occurring and maximizing its use and purpose at a certain point in its life. It's like, so few things actually just exist in that way. So that part I'm totally here for.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm like hitting up...
sport.
Like, if I'm hitting up someone's cabin...
Right.
And like it feels like an animal mortuary. It's a weird look.
That's what my uncle's cabin's like. My uncle's cabin's got all the big game heads on the walls.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
It's a little intense.
Well, just like conceptually, it's like, hey, so like, how about this room of dead shit?
It's a power move, though.
It's totally a power move.
Like if you were to go sign a deal with somebody and he just had like an elephant head behind him, you'd be like, fuck. Like, I should probably.
I'm surprised that wasn't in Lord of War.
Right.
Like homeboy with the golden AK and the fucking convertible,
straight up,
with the girls, with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders in the back of the car just rolling through Central Africa.
Incredible.
That shit was fire.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Rewinding.
Yeah.
We put on these night vision goggles.
Yeah.
Which I think belonged to one of the dads, and we would break into homes in the middle of the night.
And just like look around?
And just casually, it was the most innocent shit. We'd break in, go in the fridge, get like a cheese, and then we'd have lookout, just seeing if the light was going to turn on.
Sure.
We were technically robbing them
of cheese.
Cheese. Nothing more, nothing less, but we had these walkie-talkies. And so we'd be watching from 100 yards away, waiting for the master bedroom light to come on, and then we call it in. We say, yo, scram!
Yeah.
Usually a dog was involved, going through these long fields,
Yeah.
And a lot of injuries happened.
Really?
Doing that. Well, yeah, because we're running in the dark with goggles on.
Yeah, also the fields in rural New Mexico are just actually rocks, dust, and cactus.
It's a lot.
So like the percentage of like this step won't hurt me is like 40%.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
it's not,
especially in the dark.
It's not the plains, it's not the beautiful like grassy knolls. Like this is Santa Fe.
0 second gunman.
No one said this. Santa Fe ain't nothing to fuck with.
That's a weird town, man.
It is.
Let's go there next.
So that birthed the page that I know.
It did.
Yeah, that's where we intersected. It was in Santa Fe.
So you were 9th grade. I was a senior.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And what, in your estimation, drew us together?
Okay. I have a general one and a very specific one. And I'm happy to talk about both of them. Generally, I knew that we both loved basketball a lot.
Totally. We both had sauce.
We both
in a relatively sauceless squad.
So let's talk about the sauce.
Yeah.
So how I remember you at first was wearing lugs. You had lugs, which is
I did actually. That's so funny because I had those for such a short period of time.
Totally.
They were the one strap, one buckle, low top,
of course,
Timberland sole, nubuck lugs.
Yeah, of course.
Not of course.
Dog, those were kind of tight. The lugs joints. Eventually, Birdman was the face of lugs.
The Birdman lugs driving shoe.
Right,
Rip.
Driving shoe. Rip for sure. And so I remember you with lugs and pinwheel hats. That was So I don't.
So the lugs and pinwheel hats were at 2 different times. All
really?
Right? Lugs were high school. Pinwheel hats were post high school.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Because
we kept chilling.
Because remember, I moved to New York and I came back and I was like, "Yo, Timberland, I can't be seeing lugs. like this is some bootleg ass shit."
With the East
like,
Coast style.
With the East, just trying to be a constant camera on video.
For real.
Yeah.
Of course, and that's
only 3 colors, only coordinated every day.
Just looking like
red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue.
Totally. And that East Coast style was so flagrant at the time. You know,
I love that word for it. Well, absolutely. No, it's so good. Yeah.
It's loud as hell.
Yeah, totally.
Like
pre-G Unit.
How many great Cameron?
Actually, no. Just as G Unit was starting. Actually, yeah.
Right at the beginning, 2000s. Yeah. how many great Cameron like pink, pinwheel.
Okay, two questions.
Era.
Favorite Dipset / Cameron song?
I can't speak on that. I'm not so deep into Dipset, so I'll say some basic
I mean, Dipset Anthem's fire.
Dipset Anthem's fire.
I really need it. I really need it. That joint?
Obviously, the hits. Hey Ma.
See,
no, it's a party jam.
Facts.
Facts.
Yeah.
It's a good joint.
I think it never gets me as hype as I want it to be.
Right.
And to me, those slowed down and then beat drop just blaze joints.
Well, I would say your personality doesn't lend itself to chill music.
Well, no, it's basically 23 hours of headbanging.
Yeah. Is there cooking music that exists for you?
It totally depends.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to listen to music during service,
yeah,
I want 0 words. Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
And I want really intense, really intense electronic music.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a Skrillex or Zed.
Is that really intense? It's intensely bad.
I don't know. I'm speaking out of line.
Zed.
I'm speaking out of line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking the day that Zed watched
Interesting.
this podcast.
So no rap during any cooking activity.
So I was really anti any music during cooking for a really long time because I had done a lot of reading on how just distracting it is generally from free-flowing creative process, right? Because it engages your brain in a distracting way, right? And then I dove further on that, and I was like, okay, well, actual words are the issue there. And so then I was like, okay, cool. So during the day, if I want to put on some hip-hop and I'm chilling and, do that, cool, fuck with it, no big deal. This only happened in the last couple of years. I was, anti-music in the kitchen until 2 years ago. And then I tried the differentiation between trying techno during service and hip-hop during the day, and that's what I fucking live by now.
Amazing.
But what's so funny is that I would have never considered it. My good friend Keith went to a stage at this restaurant called Inua in Japan, one of the best restaurants in the world, and it was they play aggressive drum and bass in the kitchen all service.
Instrumental.
Yeah, all instrumental.
Wow.
And he said, and it's insane, I love it.
I could see that.
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this with an open mind, right? Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Texas.
Forever. And I'll never go back. It's hard all the time because...
I'm going to put you up on game then. I got something for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, when we were... And I'm going to jump all around.
Totally.
When we were first connecting in Austin again, which happened...
Yeah.
This is later in the story. What's the name of the show? The Clear Eyes, Full Hearts...
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. Was filming on your street at your house.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
It was when they send one of the players back to he goes to New York to he has a scholarship or something.
Yeah.
It's the quickest little scene.
Yeah, but it's your joint.
But it's my joint.
Yeah. We had a lot of good times.
Great times there.
That was a low key one of the best little affordable apartments in Austin that ever existed.
Sam Winfield was a 95-year-old Jewish landlord.
Is he?
He's dead.
R.I.P. Sam.
R.I.P. Sam.
Yeah.
And Sam Winfield, the reason he was living was
Weren't your neighbors weed growers or something too?
Yeah. Come on, Doc. Hey. Oh, okay. Nobody knows what we're talking about. But yes.
Yeah.
My neighbors were doing all sorts of.
It was like a lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels type of situation.
It was very Austin, though.
Yeah.
To me, it felt very old Austin,
I still ride for that shit.
A lot of
I'm not trying to put anybody on blast.
A lot of musicians coming over, anyway. So moving right along.
I just remember walking through that hallway some days and be like, "Yo, that is not a bag.
So
that is
pungent.
a closet."
Yeah, straight.
You know what I mean?
And not only that, the insulation was so bad because the building was from the 20s.
Yeah.
So you could smell everything through there. But Sam Winfield was in his mid-90s.
Sure.
I remember when I moved in there, my mom was helping me get in there, and we had to renovate a bunch of it because it was so old.
Yeah.
And he was running game on her.
No shit.
It was incredible. That's why he lived so long. Because, one, he was still running game, which,
That's goals.
That's
honestly,
definitely goals.
Yeah.
Say your wife passes away at that age, and you still run, you get over it and then eventually run game again, that's going to keep you alive for, a couple more years.
Or say in another reality where you're just so terrified of a commitment that you'll never get married again.
You never get married.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
So I remember...
More of an asking for a friend situation.
Sam Winfield went to the top of this old rickety set of stairs to to nail in this one nail.
Sure.
Just to keep the railing together.
Yeah.
And he fell.
Fuck.
From 20 something.
Oh, I remember this shit. Fell
from 20 some feet.
Yeah.
Straight into a pile of wood.
Yeah.
Like you could hear everything crack.
Yeah.
His dusty old ass was just dust was coming off of him. And everybody runs out there and he looks up and he goes, I still got it. You know what I mean? Like
That's fire.
He's just one of those dudes where like being the landlord was like his shit.
Yeah.
You know? And he kept it affordable, maybe to his
his detriment.
To his detriment, maybe.
Yeah. I aspire to be that landlord someday. You're gonna help me do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so jumping back into basketball, Santa Fe. Santa Fe Prep.
We went to a preparatory school.
We went to a college preparatory school that was the kind of idea with it was to have a few good sports, produce a few good men, and largely just send a small amount of people to good schools from around the country, right?
What were the implications of going to a school like Santa Fe Prep?
I would say that you were probably Caucasian.
Yeah, for sure.
You were or Jewish.
Yep.
You know, not a lot of other variants there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certainly a few folks, but you know, it was a pretty singular ethnic experience.
Definitely.
And the point was to, you know, harness whatever intellectual kind of talents you had and just point them in the right direction, right? I mean, you know, I graduated with a class of 36, a small school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 6 of those people went to Ivy League schools and the rest went to, I mean, generally very good schools.
36?
36. I had an exceptionally small class.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You were probably in the 50s, right?
50, but still, that's tiny.
Yeah. We just had people drop off throughout the years, and like no one ever really joined. It was weird.
It was expensive.
Also, well, that's the other thing, right? Is that like if you went there, unless you were a scholarship student, there was a certain amount of presumed kind of income that your parents had. Although I was always on, I would say like the less monetized income of that spectrum. Like you know, like other fools are like, hey, I got my first car, and it's like, you know, a $75,000 car.
Damn.
And like I got my first car and it was a $7,000 car.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
New.
Yeah. What was your first car?
1991.
Yeah.
Ford Escort.
Ooh.
Did you?
You
missed it.
I never got in the Escort. What was the follow up?
Then also 1991. Great year. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
That's the one.
SL.
That's the one I got in when we met.
That's the one where our friend Pete Lazar, who actually passed away recently. Yeah, rest in peace. Great dude. Tragically died in a skiing accident. Anyways, he and I were getting like unconscionably stoned during school.
Yeah.
One day, and he had this little blue paint marker, and he just started tagging my dashboard with paint marker. And so I'm like, you know, fucking pretty out of it. And I just look over and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just painting on the inside of my car.
Yeah, but at that age, you just tagged everything.
I certainly did.
What was your handle?
Soul One, which was like just a cold bite from like a really famous graffiti artist.
So what was the famous graffiti artist name?
Soul One.
You were also...
Yeah, like when I say cold bite, I meant like, I'm just going to do the same thing that looks worse.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know it either, and then like a couple people that were like in the graffiti scene pointed out to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to ride with it.
Yeah. That's insane. I didn't know that.
I seem cooler.
Totally. I was very impressed. I thought that was an original thought.
It was one of those things. I was all about content. I was about getting up in aggressive places.
Right.
Which is kind of how I live my life.
I'd say your dashboard is pretty aggressive.
Yeah. Also, all of the stool... Like, here's how fucking dumb I was.
Right.
Is that all of my binders had the same tag as the men's stalls. So teachers were just like, this fucking guy.
Right.
Like, how dumb do we think we... Like, you know?
Come on.
Yeah, anyways.
I've seen that tag in my class.
You briefly tagged.
I tagged Andrew T.
That's all time. The T can mean anything!
Come on!
Yeah.
I was the only Andrew T. in our school.
I think you have simultaneously also, speaking of names, my favorite OG rap name of all time.
What are you talking about?
Fucking Thesaurus Rex.
Oh, it is good.
Yeah.
A couple of people have told me it's the worst name they've ever heard.
It totally goes either way. That's what I love about it. Because It's also a children's reading program.
Absolutely.
And so, like, if you are cognizant of that, and if you, like, sit with that for a while,
right,
where this just, like, really kind of aggressive, punchline-driven, say kind of anything, rapper is also just the same name as a children's reading program. As a
children's book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, you know, I'm all about the kids. I love
the kids.
I love the kids. No, my brief rap career, and we'll get into the production stuff.
Yeah.
Every producer wants to be a rapper, and I was.
Why is that?
Because it's the other side of the coin. You know, like hip hop, you can't have one with the other.
Does every rapper want to be a producer?
Yes, and they suck.
Thoughts on Eminem's production, and we'll get back to that.
Bad. Yeah. The moment he left Dr. Dre, it was like, here we go. Like, he's already deranged. He's had a rough life.
Yeah.
And then you put him behind the boards, and it's just like a disaster. I was talking about this yesterday with Yadira, because we were both such big, like, OG Eminem is unbelievable.
Favorite Eminem song?
You couldn't sell 2 records if you had a double album. And anything on Raucous, so like all the really old stuff.
Jesus.
And man could jump in front of a minivan.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Can't see me, my Mace's eyebrow. Whatever. Eminem, either way, being a white guy and like seeing one of the greatest rappers ever.
I think okay, so this leads to one of my questions, which I was very curious about. Let's just talk, we're not talking about pure production.
Right.
We're talking about Nick Cage from Con Air. Also, my taco is not your business.
Very good.
It is your business. Literally. So, I want to talk about rappers.
Yeah.
All right?
Not my forte.
Ceiling.
Okay.
Just peak performance, right? Yeah. Now, I mean, like, we can't just say, you know, like they have to have a couple good albums, right? Who's your top 5?
Top 5.
Top 5.
Pharoah Monch, self-titled.
Self-titled, interesting.
Mr. Lif.
This is where we diverge, yes. Okay.
Gift of Gab, Rakim, and Biggie. That's 6.
That's 6. If you had to take off one, it would obviously be Mr. Lif.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Tupac isn't even in my top 300. Sorry. Hot takes, but I'm not a Tupac guy. And
here's what I love about Tupac, okay? Because I'm glad we're addressing this. I think Tupac is an incredibly gifted performer in all sense of the word. Kind of an underrated actor.
Totally, I agree with that.
You know?
Yes.
And I think as a general media personality, so far ahead of its time, because like think of like what that skill set could get you these days.
Oh my god!
Right? You know?
Yeah. Look at Donald Glover.
Exactly.
He does everything.
I would argue that Donald Glover is actually more talented than
Pac.
Yeah, than Pac.
Not lyrically, bro.
No, definitely not lyrically. Musically, though.
Good actor, great singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good dancer.
Yo.
Man crush.
I have enough man crushes for that to not be one of them. I'll put it that way. Although I will say, if I'm gonna make a playlist that's meant to have sex to,
oh wow,
Redbone will 100% be on that playlist.
Of course,
that is a fucking song.
It's unreal.
Yeah,
yeah. And you know his producer is like, I want to say he's Swedish. He has like a long blonde ponytail, and he's like,
fire.
I just heard from Donald Glover we wanted to make a funk record, so I figured out how to do it, and it's like incredible.
Yeah,
you know, like
I love that.
One of those unbelievable just musical talents. So that same producer did all the rap stuff for him before, so he's kind of just like a chameleon guy.
Interesting.
So I appreciate the vocalist, but I will figure out who did the music first.
Sure.
But I stand by my top 5 with a bullet.
With a bullet.
Yep. Pac isn't even in the top 20.
I mean, I'm with you on that, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised you didn't put Eminem in there. I really am.
Well, if you're so this is the same conversation we're having about basketball players. If you're judging the whole length of a career,
I'm just talking ceiling. With
totally.
If you have like as long as there are enough songs to justify that ceiling, which I think Eminem does have. I'm
only a 1-album Eminem guy.
I'm
Slim Shady LP. After that,
I thought you were an encore guy.
Oh man, I feel
did not need an encore, by the way.
Not at all, and I feel bad roasting the guy because he was like revolutionary.
You know, he and I have almost the same amount of sobriety within a couple months.
Really?
Yeah.
How many years are you celebrating?
12. I celebrated 12 in February, and he
You
celebrated
moved to
12 in
Austin
April. The year I was sober.
the year you were sober?
And I started going out to bars with all you guys.
Oh, this was the one thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Because you asked me to send you topics.
Sure.
And because of our relationship, I couldn't take it seriously, so everything I thought of was a joke. But this is kind of serious.
Okay. And
it's something that not a lot of people know about. So explain for the people what mansing is.
So there's another second iteration of mansing in my life that actually never crossed over into your life that I'm really excited to share with you.
Oh, great.
So for us,
Yeah.
because it's a term that I feel like prohibitively we invented.
Definitely.
We were at a point where we were both single-ish.
Yeah.
And we would be like, okay, cool. It's Friday night, or it's Tuesday night, or it's Sunday afternoon. Let's go out.
Couple new guys in the city.
Yeah. Two wild and crazy guys. Pew, 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 pew.
And so?
And so we're like, okay, cool, let's go out. We kind of had this thing, we're like, okay, well, the women are where the music is.
Of course.
Right? And the rhythm is where the music is. And so we're like, okay, well, if we're going to be two guys going out to dance,
right.
We're mansing. We're man dancing.
We need to mance until something happens.
We need to mance, and so we kind of had this thing where we would go out and we'd like try to like corral, like generally socially, be like, okay, cool, like let's try to basically meander our way into being around anywhere from 2 to 6 women and just kind of see what happens from there, right? You know, in our kind of, you know, generally scummy mid-20s way, right?
Mid-20s, no game.
You had some game.
Thank you.
I had no game.
0 game.
I was a shell of, like, I was still like a year or 2 sober. I was so deep in trying to figure my shit out. Like,
that definitely plays into it.
Me expressing myself outwardly was like so fucking hard. So I was just like, I'm gonna just get in really good shape and hope that basically people want to fuck a poster because that's about how much fucking personality I had.
It was. I never thought of that. It's like that was probably really
that was my
mix.
Yeah,
because you were probably on 3 Red Bulls.
And 2 packs of cigarettes.
And 2 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And then I was
sometimes 2 cigarettes at once.
And I was probably on 3 tequilas.
Yeah.
And 2 Black and Milds.
Yeah.
Which is just, for the gut, is just like the worst.
Yeah. Remember when you burned a hole in the seat of my car with the Black and Mild?
For sure. And so this is in line with Lazar tagging your, you know, all of your friends have defiled your...
fucked up my car. I'm not going to tell the story now, but there's a reason why I have that karma. I think I paid it off at this point.
Okay, respect.
Yeah.
So anyway, so mansing.
So mansing. So then, okay, mansing, and then it just kind of turned into this kind of term that we just throw around. Like, you know, like we'd throw a text or like, hey, you want to go mansing tonight?
Yeah, but what happens when you mance?
So you can just kind of like move into a crowd.
Okay.
And it's here's what it is. Here's what it is. I have the perfect analogy for you.
Right.
It's a 2-on-3 fast break.
Oh.
Right?
You're already at a disadvantage.
So you're totally at a disadvantage because it's like are these dudes gay? So like any group of women you're approaching could, within some semblance, especially the way I dressed back then.
That's what I was gonna say.
Could presume that perhaps we were an item, right?
Sure.
Given our stimulated, loud, and pretty outgoing energy,
right?
You know, some stereotypes could be made, right?
Yeah.
And so, in the context of 2-on-1 fast break, I think it's one of those things where you get to half court, right? Maybe a little bit past, maybe you're like, you know, 3-point line extended, and then you're like, okay, cool. Is this like an 85% shot or a 35% shot? Because like pretty quickly you know if you have a one dribble cut to the basket,
of course,
or if you're doing a 360 floater.
Like exactly.
Yeah,
which I've seen you do.
In basketball,
I
do them much better than I do with women.
I have a question.
Yes.
How
or did with women?
Where do you draw the line in terms of how deep the V-neck goes? So like in that era,
legitimately, it can't show your second row of abs. Here's a metric.
You used to wear the craziest V-necks.
Yeah, it was post-chest tattoo.
Oh, that's why.
Pre-Malone, post-chest tattoo.
What was the tattoo? What's the chest tattoo?
2 skulls, an anatomical heart that's shot up with arrows, a pistol, and a razor blade.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is the craziest tattoo. Like,
do you remember how I went from basically like this like relatively innocuous, somewhat handsome, but like somewhat clean-cut guy,
right?
To basically trying to be a Harley Davidson model.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've lived through so many of your phases.
Yeah.
I don't know which one this is necessarily.
I think I've settled on my most authentic self, which is to say I've come back to hip hop and like not wearing like super tight clothing all the time, and just like understanding like, you know, what I do value in fashion, what I don't value in fashion.
Yeah.
You know, and like not really giving a fuck what other people think is kind of what it comes down to.
Does wearing tight pants cut off circulation to your genitals?
Not in a way that's problematic.
Okay.
I will say that it's been pointed out to me by enough people that sometimes the pants I wear are just like a little bit much in the sense of like, hey, we get it.
Oh, wow.
You don't need to put it on display that much.
Really?
Yeah.
So
my girlfriends have been like...
Oh, girlfriends.
Girlfriends have been like...
Not a professional situation.
If it's in a professional situation, there's usually an apron over it.
Right.
Which is helpful. But girlfriends have been like, hey, great dick.
Great dick.
The world doesn't need to see the grams of foreskin that you have. Or not, right? You know, it's just like, it's a bit much.
Keep it private.
Yeah. Which is...
I respect that.
I did not.
You went double, yeah.
No, it's just like, I hate wearing baggy pants.
Right.
And so, you know, my pants are going to be tight. Unless they're joggers. I thought with some joggers.
Joggers are so comfortable.
Yeah.
And this is a new thing. Since we've hung out last time.
Yeah.
The drop crotch.
The drop crotch. Well, I think there's a point at which the drop crotch is going to be timeless.
Yeah.
And then there's a point at which it's very a prisoner of the moment and like too kitschy. Does
Definitely.
that make sense?
Is Kanye responsible for the drop crotch?
Dude, MC Hammer is responsible for the drop crotch.
He was the original drop crotch,
yeah.
That's true.
And so what happened is that when the 90s came back, that was one of the first things that came back, you'll remember. It was like drop crotch, like tapered pants, fanny packs, neons and pastels.
Yeah. I love it. I mean...
And nature t-shirts somehow like finagled their way into that aesthetic, which is a bummer.
I disagree.
You did used to rock some nature t-shirts.
Yeah,
you still fuck with them?
I had the Wolves. No, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still 90s. I'm a man of the 90s.
Yeah.
I still rock that style.
Okay, so let's talk 90s for a second, okay?
Yeah.
What do you value the most from the 90s, like, culturally? Like, is it, like do you value, like, is it the music from the 90s? Is it specifically hip-hop? Is it your favorite era of basketball?
This is a good segue for everything.
Is it movies? Is it movies?
This is a good segue for everything.
Yeah.
Backstory. The NBA was putting out video mixtapes that you probably have seen a million times.
Sure.
That would be highlights.
Yeah.
It would be, so there would be like all ones that were just Shaq.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them were promotional. They would come with shoes or they'd come with a magazine. And there was one that was launching during NBA All-Star Weekend. I've been a basketball fan since I was a baby.
Same.
And so with NBA All-Star Weekend, they launched a cassette. I remember it was light blue and it had 3 images. There's Larry Johnson was at the top right. Alonzo was at the bottom left.
And then Bugsy?
And then one of the, I don't know who.
Was it Anthony Mason?
No, this was... Yeah,
or was it a different team?
Oh, no. It wasn't one team, so it wasn't those 2 players. But I know for sure Larry Johnson was on it and Barkley was on it.
Okay.
So it's 3 different players.
Maybe Chris Mullin?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it was called NBA Jam Session.
Yes.
And it was a basketball mixtape, and it had all of these...
Oh, I remember this.
Yes, you do.
I remember this, yes.
And it had all these classic, like Belle Biv DeVoe, and Rex and Effects.
And they would break it up by, if I remember, they would break it up by players and teams, and they would just like kind of run through it, right? Yeah.
And what it was a promotional cassette that they would release with All-Star Weekend to get everybody hyped.
Totally.
For those festivities. And, you know, All-Star Weekend is a big moneymaker for the NBA in the middle of the season where nobody cares.
It's also by far the best professional sports All-Star game.
For sure.
Like, the rest of them are garbage.
They're garbage.
Yeah.
So, and it's a full weekend. And so anyway, so I've always been such an All-Star Weekend fan, but they made that cassette.
Sure.
And that had all these early rap groups and R&B groups.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the tape and being like, this is the intersection of music and basketball.
Yes.
Specifically hip-hop and R&B and, you know, funk and basketball. And so I remember thinking to myself, like, this is what I want to be interested in.
Okay.
And so I started following, unfortunately, basketball players who rapped.
So that's where this started. So that was in the early days. Shaq, obviously, the Fushnikins.
Shaq Fu, Shaq Diesel. So I had the cassettes. Those were gifts. So those were birthday gifts. It was 2 Shaq cassettes with the gray and yellow Walkman. You remember those?
Yeah, of course.
The Fire
Sony joints.
The Fire Sony joints.
Of course.
So I got the 2 cassettes and I got that, and the liner notes of the cassette had all these Shaq lyrics. I tisk it, I task it, I rip down the basket. Yo, Shaq, could you rock the mic? How could you ask it? And I was like, I was a baby, I was a kid, and I was amazed that basketball players rap.
Yeah.
But basketball players don't rap.
No.
Everybody knows that.
We'll get to that. Go ahead. Sorry.
To me, my favorite first 3 rappers were Shaq, Vanilla Ice.
Okay.
I love that. And MC Hammer.
Oh yeah, okay.
Possibly the worst rappers of all time. Like if we made
like for sure. If you were to rank, let's say 1,000 rappers.
1,000 rappers, you'd find those 3 at the bottom.
No, but I would say like definitely after 500. Like what's crazy is you could name 500 better rappers than platinum selling artists.
For sure.
You know?
But you know, all those people had incredible charisma, right?
Yeah.
So like Hammer and Vanilla Ice could do incredible dance choreographies, and they were just like the most personable, stylish.
Yeah.
Miami. So I grew up in Miami, and Vanilla Ice was like.
Well, he was a whole vibe.
A true vibe.
Yeah,
and
for
he
sure.
represented Miami.
Yeah.
The way like Gloria Estefan represents Miami, and now Pitbull, for better or worse, like.
I think you're really, really short selling 2 Live Crew. Right now.
Oh, of course. That was later, right?
Okay.
And like Miami bass and all that was played on the radio. So like, I was already.
You were fucking with that already.
I was already familiar with it.
Yeah.
But
that's really interesting. Like. To consider how like local Miami radio probably influenced your musical sensibility,
big time,
right?
Of course.
I can actually hear that in your music now that I think about it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, 2 Live Crew is very nasty.
Yeah, I think 2 Live Crew. I would compare 2 Live Crew to heroin.
Definitely.
In the sense that like, I mean, this is my fucking addict showing, right? But like. You do it once and you're like, oh, that was fucking wild. But like, if you're doing that shit on a regular. Your life's fucked up.
Your life is really fucked up.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. Like, how do you get any higher than 2 Live Crew? Like, any nastier than 2 Live Crew, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so basketball and hip-hop, to me, in the 90s, was, like, such an iconic duo. And I think it's obvious, like, that's why all of these soundtracks, like Pac, Above the Rim, like, you know, these classic movies.
Yo, those rims in that movie were so low, everybody was above them.
You think so?
Yeah, they were 9-foot rims.
Were they really?
Yeah. You can see it when you watch it. Oh, go back.
Really?
It's like very obvious.
How tall is Tupac?
Just 5'10", maybe.
Is he dunking that?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. I could have dunked in that.
Yeah. I mean, you dunked a couple times for real, right?
I dunked. No one believes that.
No, I remember you were close. It was probably in like 10th or 11th grade, right?
No, hell no, dog. Freshman year, and I got the Vince Carter red and white shocks.
I remember that.
And I was so juiced. I've always been about the sauce. Yeah. And I was so juiced to have them on in layup lines that I was jumping out of the building.
Yeah.
And one of the homies in the layup line, it was all the freshmen, so probably like the...
Was this in a game?
No, pre-game.
Pre-game, okay.
They said, dog, like you're laying it up with your wrist at the rim.
Yeah.
He was like, just turn the... Yeah. So I did it. And back then, you get technical fouls.
For dunking in game.
Bonehead move. And, you know, that was pretty much my basketball career. Too much sauce, not enough of a jumper.
I remember your handle, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. You were... So, I think something that, like, deeply emotionally influenced you, if I could infer that...
Sure.
Is the Nike commercial...
Yeah.
With the beat made out of basketball bouncing sounds.
For sure.
And the sneaker screeches.
Yeah.
Right? You know what's interesting is that in many ways, the song Grindin' by the Clips just bit that. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Like, it's just holy shit, that's a cold bite.
That's a cold bite. That's like Soul 1. That's like your tag.
It's not that bad. It's not literally the same thing.
Also, isn't Tipsy like that? Jaquan?
Let's not acknowledge that ever happened.
A lot of
remember that 9-month period when it was like, yeah, St. Louis.
St. Louis is on the map.
Yeah, and then everyone was like, that's not a thing.
Why did Nelly wear a Band-Aid on his face?
I actually don't know. Is it like a why did the chicken cross the road situation?
No, this isn't a joke.
Oh, you're actually wondering.
I need a logical explanation.
There are zero logical explanations.
Right.
I'm curious, who's your favorite Saint Lunatic?
Saint Lunatics.
Yeah.
Number one would be not having to listen to them. And then I don't know anybody besides Nelly.
You totally do. Murphy Lee.
Murphy Lee?
Yeah, and then Mask Guy.
That's right.
Yeah, weird Mask Guy.
Yeah, what was his name?
I have no idea, but Mask Guy.
I mean, shout out St. Louis. St. Louis is great, you know.
I've driven through a couple times. I had a bad salad. It's kind of whatever.
That's your impression.
I mean, I drove through and had a bad salad. That arch was kind of cool.
The arch, that's right.
You know, I mean, there's some pretty dope baseball culture there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I fuck with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually, if I'm not mistaken, some actually early ABA and NBA culture there.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I think so.
St. Louis, that's
right. So back to the 90s.
Yeah.
So you started to be really conscious of the relationship between music and basketball.
Of course, yes.
And
definitely.
Where did that take you?
Okay.
When did you, because you had these two passions.
It's interesting what you told me about the focus. So I started listening really heavy to everything that Bad Boy Records made.
Yeah.
That was making.
You weren't going nowhere.
Take that.
Yeah.
That was making it to South Beach really, really strong.
Yeah.
And
I can see that. I mean, that's like.
And it was jiggy. You know, obviously Biggie was like very raw, but once Puffy got his hands on the production, it became radio friendly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had Juicy. Like Juicy was almost two different records, right?
Yeah.
Like all the radio hits. Well, sorry, Ready to Die.
Yeah.
Was really two records, right? Because you had like the poppy, you know, kind of radio played shit that was like still great, right?
Yeah.
You know, like the flows on that are dope.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the other side of the record that was like really grimy and hood.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Biggie was incredible that way.
Yeah.
And I do think a big part of it was
Puff. For sure.
Helping him with the production, maybe shaping a little bit of how the songs came out.
Yeah.
Either way, I became obsessed with Biggie really early.
Yeah.
And I would just play him on loop. A lot of the radio stuff, because I was young.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to do homework while listening to Biggie. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was just listening to Biggie. I would just listen to the production, listen to Biggie. Started doing really bad on like tests and homework because I was obsessed
with Biggie.
What's
your favorite Biggie verse of all time?
10 Crack Commandments, easily.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mine's not even on a Biggie record.
A feature?
Mm-hmm. Brooklyn's Finest.
Oh, that hell of a verse.
Shoot your daughter in the calf muscle, fuck a tussle.
He ethered
Fire.
Every feature. Of course.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing.
I didn't actually hear that song, like really hear it.
Yeah.
Because like I mean we've had the whole Reasonable Doubt discussion plenty of times.
For sure.
Like until probably my like mid-20s, and then I that fucking song pushed my fucking wig back.
Biggie was a crazy storyteller. He had crazy bars, crazy punchlines.
Sure.
He was the full package.
Yeah.
Where everybody, because they're both passed away, where everybody compares Pac and Biggie is in the lyrical content. And you can argue that Pac was more of a poet, Biggie was more of a wordsmith.
Sure.
But Biggie's stories and his life experience would shine through just as hard as the poetry that Pac was doing. And they're just different languages, you know? To me, I've just related more to Biggie's style.
Yeah, I was always the same way. To me, I think like there was something about Pac that was more just expressing a lifestyle
for sure
than rapping.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? I think a lot of that is just like his life experience and I mean, you know, he had, you know, a lot of reasons to be distrustful of the world, you know,
for sure.
To inform that perspective.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's valid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I think like people could talk about that comparison all day and like why they were the way they were. But either way, like they were so iconic for the era, and Biggie really reached me. And eventually, DJ Premier started producing for Biggie.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, that's where I first heard Primo.
Premier did.
Yeah.
Premier did 10 Crack Commandments, you know. And Premier and RZA, because Wu-Tang was really popping and Wu-Tang was the antithesis of like all the jiggy bad boy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
they were just like Staten Island, fucking raw, smoking crack in a stairwell.
So raw.
Yeah.
And they had the whole chess and the philosophical
See,
thing.
I was a little bit older than you, and so I did this thing where I went from Nirvana to Snoop Dogg to Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know?
Yeah, Nirvana was great.
Yeah, totally. I think it was more just like I missed like I was too young for NWA.
For sure.
But there was that still connection because there was this imprint from NWA where The Chronic came out. I think I was 9, and I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club during the summer and just like playing pickup hoops, and those music videos were just on the whole fucking day from The Chronic, and so that Snoop verse on The Chronic that's iconic, like burned into my memory, and like I think it was a year and a half later Doggy Style came out, and that was the first record I ever bought with my own money, was the Doggy Style tape.
Ooh, the tape.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good first tape.
Yeah, it's a good first tape.
Way better than Shaq Fu.
Way better than Shaq.
Man, I'm envious of that.
To be fair, I did also own other, like I had Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer.
You went through all that.
Yeah, for sure. I just didn't buy it, like because I didn't have money at that point. This was like my first thing where like I did work around the house, earn money. With that money, the thing that I valued above anything else was going and getting Doggy Style.
The Snoop record, interesting.
At Hastings.
Hastings
sold Doggy Style to a fucking 10-year-old, by the way.
That's crazy. And I remember, you had the parental advisory.
Yeah.
If you saw that on the cassette of the CD, you'd be like, I'm gonna take a risk today.
Facts.
And see if they let me go.
Yeah.
I would actually do tricks and like try and cover it.
Yeah.
Even though they could tell, it says Doggy Style across it, but you could tell, and I would try and cover it. I try and hold it on the thumb. They'd be like, "Let me hold it." I'd be like, "No, it's fine. Like, here's his barcode," and then but that's how bad you wanted the record.
For sure, dude.
You try crazy stuff just to hear like bad words,
a
different lifestyle, amazing beats, and all that. But I was simultaneously so obsessed with 90s basketball.
Yeah.
And at the time, I loved Shaquille O'Neal, and like he was such a persona in the league.
Yeah.
Like he was.
This was pre-LA. This was right before he went to LA.
Pre-LA,
right?
yeah, playing for the Magic.
Yeah.
He was such a persona, and I just wanted to. I wanted to be an NBA fan forever. Once I realized how incredible Shaq was.
Yeah.
There was nobody like him before.
So you weren't really a Jordan guy.
I was a Jordan guy, but I lived in Miami, so I was like a obsessive Heat fan, and by proxy, Magic fan.
Yeah, sure.
Like local television, you watch what you watch, and then.
Well, I mean, and also back in those days, I mean, the only thing you were rooting for, if you're a Heat fan, was fucking Ronnie Cycli and Harold Miner, which is a fucking tough.
It's a tough time.
Yeah.
I mean, they once they got Glenn Rice, and they got some hoopers.
Come on.
It was a tough time. That's why people get so. Everyone hates on me for being a LeBron fan, like a following LeBron to the Lakers and Cavs. The Heat.
Also, you're the only other person I know
who'll admit it,
and I did the same thing,
bro. If you follow, well, for one, I understand the argument of like being a franchise guy. Like I love let's go ahead and say I love the Denver Nuggets.
But here's the thing.
Because I'm from Denver, so I'm going to blindly follow them forever. Okay, if you follow a team for 10, 15 years, and then the greatest physical specimen of all time joins the team.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to quote Jerry Seinfeld here. He said it best. If you root for a sports team, I'm just going to go ahead and just fucking call this out. If you're a fucking grown-ass adult that's like, I fuck with this sports team so hard, care.
Yeah.
What you're doing then, and like if you watch like a lot of live sports that go to, like, your life is going and watching other men at their job and yelling at them that they're doing a good job at their job. That shit is weird as fuck.
It is weird.
And then you're doing like, okay, cool, so I'm just going to root for laundry?
Right.
Like, because the players come and go.
Totally.
And I don't give a fuck about laundry. Like, here's the thing. I was born in Atlanta. I grew up between Atlanta and New York and Santa Fe. Mostly in Santa Fe, right? Mm-hmm. And so there ain't shit in New Mexico.
No
And, like, you came there early enough to, like, okay, cool. I mean, you spent, what, 6, 7 years there?
10 years.
Shit, okay. Mm-hmm. So that was, long enough to dissociate from being a Floridian. Thank God for you, by the way. Were you born in Miami?
I was born in Venezuela.
Oh,
but moved quickly to Miami. So
do you have dual visas?
I have two. I have, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So growing up in New Mexico, you like have this thing where people, the reason they choose their teams
geographical
are a little arbitrary.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you could make a lot like you could be like, okay, cool. My uncle lives in Phoenix and we're close to Phoenix, so I'm a Suns fan. Or fucking whatever, right? All of it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
And so I found myself being like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna choose these sports teams because like I'm from here or like I grew up here, so I was like, and then when LeBron came along,
right,
I was like, this is my guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, like I believe that this person is going to be one of the best iterations to ever do this.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. It's
and
undoubtable.
It happened.
Yeah.
It totally happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same for you?
Same for me.
Cool.
Same for me. But I wouldn't say I was ever like a Jordan guy, but he was obviously unbelievable and I followed him.
I will never forget where I was in '98, right?
Mm.
I was at my mom's house, watched the '98 finals, Game 6, right? I had my Jordans on, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this thing on this tiny little kitchen TV, like shitty quality, right? Like a network television on it, NBA and NBC, right?
Right.
With Bob Costas, who was like low-key Bob Costas, one of the most underrated NBA announcers of all time. I just want to say that. I fucking ride for Bob Costas.
Yes! Get you so hyped.
Yeah, so hyped. And so I'm sitting there, I got a ball in my hands, I'm watching this game, and then, the end of the game happens, and I was almost 14, and so this guy who, had been the best basketball player since I had been old enough to understand the concept of that, I saw, and I was like, finally went to this place where I'm going to play competitive basketball. I'm going to I'm actually good enough to be on a high school team now, And this guy who had shaped my perception of how to play basketball, had the, kind of best mic drop in sports history.
I have a hot take.
Go.
That was a push off.
That's not a hot take. It was for sure a push off.
Okay, well.
Yeah, it's only a foul if they call it.
Cold take. Jordan is the original James Harden.
Oh.
Jordan made it okay. That is everybody's standard, is to push Brian Russell, what's his name, Byron? Anyway, to push him over while crossing over, hit the J. Now everybody does that. Every single player pushes off now.
That's really interesting.
Hot take, Jordan ruined basketball.
Here's the thing, is that I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think that at the time, I think the Blazers make the right call. Sam Bowie, number 2 pick.
Wow, hot take.
Hot take.
Great.
You know what's really interesting? I was listening to a podcast with Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo of The Ringer a week ago, and they were talking about how the kind of, career duel between Jordan and Drexler, pre and post '92 finals, right? And then going into the Dream Team, right? So Jordan, wrecks the Blazers, right? Then they go into the Dream Team, and Jordan, and they're scrimmaging every day, and obviously Jordan's starting to, Drexler's coming off the bench, and he's just wrecking him every day in practice.
Yeah.
Really interesting thing. His scoring average went down 4 points a game.
Jordan.
No. Drexler. The next year in the league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was 30. There was no reason, there was no, perceivable physical reason.
So what do you explain?
He got so worked over by Jordan between the finals that he never got his confidence back.
Mentally, yeah.
Yeah, he never recovered.
I couldn't imagine.
Jordan did that to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
He was, the last great game that Magic ever played was against Jordan. He did the same thing to Barkley.
Yeah. Hans Barkley.
He did the same thing to the Sonics.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing to the Jazz twice.
Was Jordan a better actor or baseball player?
Actor.
Wow.
Although he actually is probably underrated as a baseball player.
Really?
Yeah. He wasn't as bad as I think people say.
Why did Jordan have the Hitler mustache?
I think let's just broaden it out to why did Jordan just go with a mustache for so long.
In general.
Like, it's like, you're a super handsome guy.
Yeah, just do
like, you're a model.
Yeah.
And you have, like, what's the upside of the mustache for 30 years?
Well, supposedly, his sense of style is terrible.
I mean, not supposedly.
Yeah. It's facts.
Facts.
Have
you seen, like, the early Jordan, just, like, where just, like, his whole life's red?
No.
Like, red Corvette, red tracksuit,
wow.
just, like, red apartment.
Yeah.
Just, like, it's a lot.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Here,
that's what inspired me to start my blood gang.
Right.
Okay, so here's what I want to cover, okay?
Yeah.
Your whole situation right here, your whole swag, right?
This?
Yeah. That is that custom?
No, this was...
Oh, it's not custom. Is that... Oh, that...
This is a vintage.
That is insane.
So here's the left sleeve. Right?
Jam.
And here's the right sleeve.
Also a jam.
Yeah. You know, and then we have this little detail here.
That's incredible. Where'd you get it?
Boom Shakalaka.
Yeah.
This was an auction.
It was an auction?
Yeah.
Like an eBay joint?
Yeah, this was an eBay joint.
What brand is it?
I'm going to go ahead and take
like
it off.
YSL, Gucci?
I'm going to go ahead and take it off because you're grilling me so hard.
Yeah. Hot off the grill with Paige Pressley.
This is a chalk line. Winning with style.
Fire. Okay.
So anyway, this
Great.
is a custom jacket, and I bought it when I knew I was making this album.
Okay. So this album, what was the inspiration behind first the music,
Yeah?
and then the marketing?
Okay. NBA Jam Session were those cassettes that I told you about.
Yes.
The NBA granted NBA Jam the license to use the likeness of the players.
Yes.
After a year of trying to get the licenses, they were denying it because arcades had a bad reputation. Gangs, all sorts of gambling, alcohol.
Also, I just want to, I believe Michael Jordan did not allow his likeness to be used, and he was the only player, correct?
Him and Barkley.
Barkley, okay.
Him and Barkley were the only ones.
Yeah.
But the original Jam
boys.
that was being pitched,
Yeah.
it was, who was it? Barkley versus Jordan. Because those were like the hot names of '91, I think, is when they were pushing it. So they sent out the pitch.
Barkley was still on the Sixers then.
Yeah.
Just toiling away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they sent out the pitch.
Yeah.
They denied it because of the reputation, and then they started testing the arcade game, and it blew through the roof.
Yeah.
Around the same time, that same development company was making Mortal Kombat. So they were just already onto something, and everything that they were making was this extreme, bombastic version of what it was. They made fighting games like where you rip the head off. They made the basketball game where you do 10 flips in the air.
Totally.
And so the NBA granted the license. I was obsessed with the game. I used to write the codes and sell them. Young hustle. I used to write the codes.
Young money.
I used to write the codes that you do at the matchup screen and sell them to friends, and we would go play and whatever. And essentially, the way that this record was written was a return to sort of like my first two loves, being basketball and hip hop. It's through the whole record. It's themed with the announcer. His name's Tim Kritzko. Really good backstory here. He was a Second Street comedian, which is where all those great people came from. He was waiting tables. He wasn't making any money. They were reaching out to Marv Albert, who was asking for too much money.
Yeah.
So then they started going bottom of the barrel, and they found this guy, and he was so personable.
Yeah.
And he became this iconic announcer, and like a big part of his thing was because the systems were so limited, you could only record so much audio into them. So you had to keep the phrases real short.
Yeah.
So Boom Shakalaka was an ad lib.
Also a great voice.
Incredible voice. Was an ad lib. So this is what the name of the record is. Boom Shakalaka, and it was an ad lib based on a song. Not Casey and the Sunshine Band. I'm trying to remember the name of the band, but essentially there's this little section where they go boom shakalaka laka boom shakalaka, and the producer said, "Why don't you try that?"
Yeah.
He says it, and it just rings out, and the way he describes it is the boom is when you hit the rim to dunk, and the shakalaka is when you release the rim, and it rattles back.
Yeah.
So it was all about dunks. The NBA, much to everybody's chagrin now, it's a 3-point league, but back then, dunks reigned supreme. It was.
I think you take, what the 80s were, which is, Magic and Bird. Jordan takes the latter part of the 80s, combined with the physicality of the Pistons, right? And that kind of dynamic. And then you move into the 90s, and, the question at that point in like 94, 93, as Jordan wins his third title in a row, and steps away, then there's Shaq, right?
Yeah.
And just starts ripping down baskets.
Dunks.
Ripping down baskets.
Yep.
And he was really kind of, when you think about the league at that point, the only kind of monetizable star outside of Jordan.
Totally. Totally.
And so the two biggest stars in the world were both dunkers.
Yeah, they were
dunkers.
dunkers.
That was the thing. It was kind of a nightly home run derby.
Yeah.
Right.
The way that the dunks in NBA Jam became so extreme is that the developers made a mistake when they were calculating the physics. So like they were writing the code, and one of the codes one of the codes was way out of whack.
Yeah.
And when they tested the game, these players went through the ceiling of the TV.
Yeah.
So like all pass out of the frame, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know what was happening there." And they go, "No, we might be onto something. Let's make these guys jump way higher than they would in real life."
Yeah.
I was always really attracted to, and I still am, to the sauce of everything.
Totally.
Like being flashy, what I'm wearing now. Maybe that's from hip hop, maybe it's from basketball. I don't know what it is.
And Miami.
Yeah.
And it's all of it.
It's all of it,
Yeah, sure.
And I think like the game and the music kind of led me to what this is, which is Boom Shakalaka.
Yeah.
It's 11 tracks. They're mostly instrumental, but like a lot of classic little vocal samples from different hip hop artists. And then, like I said, the announcer is sort of the narrator through the whole thing. When I released it, it took off with basketball fans. It took off with video game fans. And then, of course, like everybody was like, "Oh, the music's okay too." But like, it's just wild because I make my music for beat fans, like instrumental hip hop fans.
Yeah. Which is, albeit a somewhat small market.
It's small market,
sure.
And it's just been wild because I've had the writer of the book, NBA Jam, support the record. I've had the announcer get behind it. I've had just like so much crazy support just because it's based around the game.
Yeah.
Which was never my intention. Like,
it
was just the inspiration for the record.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the day that you launched the record was the day the NBA was canceled this year?
Exactly. So this is interesting.
Now, was that pure circumstance?
Totally.
Or did you say like, "Oh, fuck it, NBA's canceled, I have this, I'm going to do it"?
No. So, contrary to popular demand, popular belief, you need to put a record in the queue usually 6 to 9 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
So like to press this, I had to have, a 4-month lead time. To promote it, I needed a 2-month lead time. To create it, I needed years and years. And so I submitted this in September. And then when the pandemic hit and everybody figured out that Rudy Gobert was the first one, and I'd love to talk about this too because in my opinion, forget about Trump knowing way in advance and everybody discussing in advance behind closed doors, Rudy Gobert in that press conference was what alerted so many fucking people.
It was Rudy Gobert and Tom Hanks.
And Tom Hanks.
In the same night. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Oh, facts.
And Rudy Gobert did this to the mic, right?
No, like that shit was a moment in American history.
Totally.
Absolutely.
It was insane. And I think that the NBA getting in front of it, which, for better or worse, they were some of the first to postpone the league, the season. And then all the other leagues followed. I had to change my marketing because my plan was this is a poem to the NBA. It's a poem to the game.
Sure.
Like it's an ode to the game.
Yeah.
But then if the season's over and all of my material is meant for a season that's currently happening, I'm kind of screwed.
Sure.
So I changed the slant on it, and there's a CNN article that came out about the record that basically explained that the record was dedicated to the end of the season.
Sure.
Which wasn't my intention, and that's the way they picked it up because it's all about basketball. So the whole thing has happened in the 180 version of what I expected, which is video game and sports fans like the album.
Yeah,
and it's sold out, so it's done really well.
So, it's on a couple of my playlists.
Yeah,
no, for sure, it's fire.
So anyway, that's where we are currently, and I'm very proud of what came out of it.
Yeah, it's dope, man.
And
I love it.
Living as an artist through this time where you can't perform. It's been a blessing to have the album.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, to figure out sort of technologically through streaming and all that like, you can connect with so many people.
Sure.
And I think that's been cool to see. Like, a lot of new fans because they feel close to you, you know, because they get to see your process.
Yeah.
And I think everybody wants to share more because they're stuck, you know,
Yeah.
like you don't have your normal means of expression, and a lot of people are staying inside, and so it's just been cool. It's been cool to sort of learn and evolve with it. I can't wait to perform again in public, but, you know,
of course.
we're going to evolve and figure out what to do. Yeah.
We'll get there. Very good.